Okay, so I was saying that before, let's get that. I used to could draw without needing a maul stick, but I'm a bit older now and it's a bit tougher. My hand, it doesn't shake bad, but it shakes enough to where it's irritating for me. It irritates me a bit. Putting the this little cast shadow here that comes off on the side of the nostril there. How wide is that? Wow. It expands. It expands the length of the eye, of the iris, of the, yeah. It expands that far. So, since I'm in this area, I'm gonna take the liberty to sort of think about the shape on both sides. You know, it's better to work on the whole. I mean, if you do something on one part, you know, don't stop there. You know, go and do something on the other side, as well to the other nostril, just to make sure you're going in the right direction. Draw that out there, because I know it'll be somewhere right here. I'm thinking about whether the eyeglass will come out. Let's use it. I got a bigger brush. At the conference, I bought some of these silver rounds. Let's see if that'll help just a bit. Okay, so using some of the paint that's already on my palette, I'm just gonna start shaping this nose a little bit more. Check the space from here to here, you know. Gotta make sure that I don't go too light, because then I'll lose this underneath surface, underneath the nose. Check out the different angles. So I'll redraw this nose until I get it perfect. How much higher is that? It's really not much higher there. Okay. Let's draw it out a little bit. Okay. This lower section, it's warm, you know. So, and I want to show you the wing of the nose. Rather than me try to do all that right now, I'll just take this warm tone and just make it one stroke. One stroke. One big stroke until I get it figured out. One big stroke. Now, I know from feeling my nose all the time, there's a nice little side plane right here. I was told this is you think of it as a ball, and the more I felt my nose, I'm like, wow, this is a ball. So I'll treat it that way, like a ball, and add on to it after that. See, now I could expand that up just a bit more. So let's get some of this good stuff over here. Let's go up a little bit more. Up and out. Okay. Then I can go back now and then restate that shadow plane. That expands as far as the eye. I'm using a plumb line here to expand that out there. Restate that zygomatic bone. It's a little area here that's sort of in there. Let's take this mustache into this area. That way I can also fix that as I need to. I'm going to go in and work on the nostril just a bit. The nostril, although there is not light in the nostril, right? We know there's not light inside of the nostril. It's a dark area. It's still, the skin that's above it is thin. So when the light hits it, there's reflective light. There's a warm light that's hitting that because the skin is thin in there and it's showing up inside of the nostrils. So you don't want the nostrils to be, I don't make them black. I'll use maybe some burnt umber or something, or from time to time, you know. And burnt umber mixed with some crimson. I had the opportunity to see I actually went to Chicago and had a chance to see some Sargent portraits. And man, he used quite a bit, from my vision, he used quite a bit of crimson, alizarin crimson, in his darks. So I've thought about that. I said, wow, let me try it. So I've been sort of thinking of that. Let's give a little bit more space here. I've been thinking of that, and in my darkest darks, sometimes I like to put crimson, some crimson in there. Oh, this is that little meaty part that's on my nose. Squinting down, I am squinting down. I'm not looking at this. You can't see me, but I promise you, I'm squinting. especially in this area, because I want to be able to see. So I've added just a little bit of green to this mixture. Getting the angle of the nose. I'll change this nostrils several times, just until I get what I'm seeking, what I'm trying to get. So let's take this and soften it up a little bit, so you all can see what I'm doing. I'm hoping to blend that and knock some stuff down. Let's go back to the goatee under there, and let's see what we can do with this. There's some transitional things going on in there. Let's see, can I work that a little bit? Let's see what this does. Okay, so I could use this to sort of line things up. Let's put a little bit more chroma. Saturate that area just a little. Nah, I don't like it. Knock it back down. Okay, knock it back down. So here, I know this is sort of peeking out a little bit. Space from here to here. That beautiful, that, it's gonna haunt me, but I know that I'm gonna have to do it several times. But it's this beautiful reflective light that's sort of expanding itself out like that. I'm going to use the darkness of this shirt to make it make sense, so don't worry about that. I'm going to make it make sense. So what I'm doing is, I'm just doing it just so I can check the space from here to here. You know, am I too far? Or this goes somewhere in here. Change the angle. So I may need just a little bit more space on this side. So I have to restate that. Expand it a little bit. Just a touch. This is what I call my second block in. You know, that's when I'm adding on paint. Please remember, I'm not thinking olive primer, but I'm just adding on this paint. And thinking of the planes. See, I already know that some of this color will be in here because I want to unify the painting, right? So I'm just going in and I'm going to push some values. And where is that? Changing. This whole side will be lighter. It's a shadow side, but it'll be slightly lighter. So this direction change off this zygomatic bone here. I'll need that in there later. Okay, let's go back into the eye area. I can't leave that patch of dark up there. That's gonna haunt me tonight. I'm gonna be laying down in the bed thinking, God, why did I leave that patch of dark like that? But I'm putting a gray in it. Oh, that might be a little bit too light. A very nice gentleman, when I first started going to the Portrait Society of America, I met this gentleman. His name was Gordon Withmore. And it was my first time going there. I was a little bit afraid. Gordon Withmore, he came up to me and he said, do you have a business card? And, you know, at the time, look, I was doing the best I could do. I did not have a business card. So he said, oh, we need to work on doing something about that, you know, because you need a business card. So I'm saying this because in the eyes, I could remember looking him up when I got home. I said, man, who was that guy? You know, they called him Gordon Withmore. So he said within the eye socket area, should be sort of a violet feel to it. And so I understood what he was saying. It's a concave area, so it's gonna be cooler. You want to be cooler, but the eyeballs, they're bald, they sit in there. So just like the eyebrows, you know, let's say the light is in there, light, medium to dark, light, medium to dark. The eyeballs should take the same thing, you know. If it's lit at its highest point right here of the ball, then it should rotate, right? Light, medium, dark, light, medium, dark, you know. But I always think of Mr. Withmore. That was a very kind thing. He was a very nice guy, you know. And and like I said, that was my first time going to the conference. So I'll just add that on in here. We're just gonna make that one whole eye for right now. Just one whole patch, right? Anyway, that's my Gordon Withmore story. He's no longer here. I found out he had passed. It was after the fact. I didn't know. I didn't know he had passed. And I said, "Oh man, he's passed away." And I said, "Yeah, wow, good guy, very good guy." He was nice enough to help me. I'm gonna warm. Sometimes I like to, rather than have it too cool in there, I'll warm the socket up a bit. Let's make this a part of the, let's just soften that up in there for right now. I could make it look pretty later. Okay, let's go back to the, so I'm sticking in the middle. I hadn't really gone into really any light colors, light values, excuse me, light values. I'm just kind of poking around in this area, just seeing what I can come up with. When I come back, my next step would be I'm gonna save the background for a little bit. I might put a little bit of it in just around his head, just around my head, just a little bit. But I do like these lighter values, so I have to keep it in there. I'm gonna put it in fairly thin, and then I'm gonna work into that just a little bit too. But do a little bit at a time, man. I'm not stressing on anything, Just trying to figure it out. Just like Mr. Knox said to me, he said, take your time and get it the way you want it. If that's not what you want, keep working until you get what you want. And that's exactly what I do. Not some flat out gray. Let's take this down some more. I'm thinking about that plane. If it's there, let's go over here and let's take that plane down a little bit too. Let's make it a little darker, because I may be a touch too light right now. I'm not a light guy. So I'll take it down a bit. Let's take this back down so I can see what I'm doing here. Stay in the middle for the time being. But this little hair underneath my bottom lip. Stay in the middle. I want to restate that cast shadow. Is it that dark? No. But I do want to restate it. I think that sort of looks like me at this point. I'm going to do just a little bit to the background, just a touch. I have a brush here. But I have to remember to keep the background thin. I don't want it to be thick. I have a color that I mixed here. And I'm going to tell you what that color is. It's amazing. It's alizarin crimson with some sap green and white. And look, it gives you sort of a brownish gray, but I don't want it to be that. I'm going to take some of the colors around it and just add to it, but I want it to be fairly thin, so I'm going to thin it out quite a bit. Take some of the skin tone and add in there. Let's see, and I just touch it. Dig into the medium, so. Okay, I have to be careful now. Okay, I'm gonna thin it out even more because I don't want to. Okay, I'm gonna use this to draw with. Cut into the head just a bit. The key is to make this background feel airy. You know, sometimes I go for that feeling, sometimes I don't. It depends on what I'm trying to do. But airy is the ultimate goal here, is to make it feel airy. Putting this. So my mentor told me years ago, he said every painting should have thin to thick areas. So everything doesn't have to be thin, everything doesn't have to be thick. So always think about that, you know. I always think about that when I'm painting, you know. I'm digging into that area so I can push back out just a bit. That way those edges will be softer around the bald head. I don't want the bald head. I don't want my bald head just to come flying out of there. You know, I want it to be fairly thinner. I wanted the edges to be soft, excuse me. I I will go back over this area and make some areas thicker. Where I want them to be thick at. Using a lot of medium right here. Because I want it to feel airy back here. Real airy. Mixed the wrong color with that. Well, see if I can fix it. Touch it. Too dark, see? I just want to touch around his head. So. Same idea. Very thin paint for right now. I'll go thicker later. Using a lot of medium. Okay, that's a little bit better. Well, let's grab a little bit of this too.